He cheated with my Isabel, and to be with her, he even sent pregnant me to be tortured by homeless men for 7 days and nights. I chose to jump into the river to commit suicide, but he regretted it. After I was kidnapped, I was tortured and violated by criminals for 7 days and nights, nearly 100 times. One day, Robert came to my rescue with many bodyguards, like a war god descended to earth. He picked me up from behind, quickly covering my broken body with his suit jacket. In the haze before losing consciousness, I heard a conversation between Robert and the driver in the car. "Robert, you're really ruthless. An angel-like wife like that, and you were willing to send her to be ravaged by homeless men." Those homeless men who hadn't seen a woman were like madmen, tormenting her day and night. Robert wiped his hands clean and spoke casually. "Viv's reputation was ruined. Those shareholders won't let her be chairwoman anymore. The only heir is her Isabel. I swore to Izzy, everything she wants in this life, I will take it for her." Robert slowly stroked my hands, like stroking a baby. "As for Vivian, I will atone for my sins with a lifetime of companionship." Tears fell from the corners of my eyes, and hatred stripped me piece by piece. The man who once said he would protect me forever had turned around and fallen in love with my Isabel. He was the one who personally sent me to hell. It turned out you really could lose all feeling for someone in an instant. Slowly waking up in the hospital bed, 2 voices reached my ears. The attending doctor stood by the bed, speaking with reluctance. "Miss Vivian, the child in your belly is truly a miracle. To think after going through so much, it actually survived." Then I heard the man's low voice, his gaze towards me flickering uncertainly. "No need to say more. Administer a shot to terminate the pregnancy." The doctor still wanted to plead for me. "Mr. Robert, would you like to reconsider? Miss Vivian's uterus is severely damaged. If this child is terminated, she won't be able to have children in the future." Robert waved his hand. His eyes were as cold as winter frost and snow. "I know it's my child, but it has to die. Otherwise, how will others laugh at me later? Saying my wife is damaged goods, and keeping a bastard?" The doctor was silent for a few seconds, then spoke. "We can only perform the surgery if Miss Vivian signs." Robert's low voice sounded. "I'll make Viv agree." He walked over and sat by the bed, looking at my sleeping face, gently stroking my hair with one hand. The doctor didn't say anything else, lost in thought. Perhaps, for a few seconds, it was out of pity for me. Half an hour later, I moved my fingers and slowly turned over. Robert, who had been watching over me, suddenly pulled me into his arms. Instantly, the cedar scent I loved filled my nostrils. "Viv, I thought I was going to lose you. Thank goodness you're okay. You won't blame me for coming too late, will you?" Robert leaned in slightly, his eyes filled with tenderness. Subtly avoiding his gaze, I shook my head. During those hellish days, every moment I longed to come back alive. But I never expected that the one who pushed me into hell was the partner I'd loved for 10 years. "The doctor said you were pregnant with our child before you were kidnapped. But if it's born, it's bound to face scrutiny." Robert lowered his eyes, his long lashes hiding his dark, inky pupils. "Viv, I'm begging you, please get rid of the child." I suddenly spoke, interrupting him, my tone pleading. "Robert, can we keep it?" I took his hand, its knuckles distinct, and intertwined our fingers, placing it over my heart. My eyes glistened with tears, and my voice trembled incessantly. "They say children like this have a deep bond with their parents. If born, they're sure to be very smart, obedient." Robert's handsome eyes looked down at me, his gaze meeting mine quietly. After a long he held me, his breath brushing my ear. "Viv, please. I never despised you. The doctor said the pregnancy would affect your recovery. We'll have other babies. I'll pretend none of this ever happened." He gently held my hands, pressed me against the headboard, and kissed me countless times. These gentle words were just lies to deceive me. I gave up all illusions. I quieted down, closing my eyes and enduring his passion. The kisses I had once longed for felt like a poisoned blade, gouging at my soul. The abuse of the past 7 days, my husband's betrayal, constantly flashed before my eyes. The baby in my belly was the warmth that kept me alive. I shielded my abdomen tightly with my hands. At that moment, my expression was stubborn, almost to the point of obsession, as if defending the most precious treasure in the world. But I never expected I couldn't even protect this child. The next day, Isabel entered my hospital room. Her gaze held an indescribable meaning as she slowly spoke, staring at me. Vivian, I don't know which paparazzi got a video, but now everyone in the city knows about your scandal. After speaking, she watched me quietly, as if waiting for my reaction. I snatched the phone from Isabel's hand and frantically scrolled through it. Business heiress becomes captive of abductors. Wellington chairwoman suffers 7 days and nights of torment. Shocking scandal. Wellington stock halved. The black headlines screamed with endless malice, unveiling that nightmare before everyone. My face instantly turned pale, and my lips trembled uncontrollably. Just then, father and stepmother, Aunt Carol, pushed the door open and entered. Aunt Carol glanced at me on the hospital bed, and a cold smirk played on her lips. Vivian, you've really become famous. The reporters dug up everything about this, the whole world knows. I didn't even get a word of concern from father. Instead, I heard him say blunt words, you've completely disgraced the Wellington family name. And you're not going to hand over the chairwoman position to your Isabel? I told you long ago that Izzy was more capable than you. At these words, my eyes were filled with disbelief and anger. Mom is already gone, the company is the only thing she left me. I won't let go. I vaguely remembered, 10 years ago. The day after Mom passed away, father brought Aunt Carol and Isabel back to the old family estate, Wellington Estate. Isabel dragged her suitcase, and a cold smirk slowly curved her lips, as if declaring she would take everything from me. From then on, I was worthless as roadside weeds. And Isabel was like the moon in the clouds, a star in the sky. But clearly, my mom was his lawfully wedded wife. Father threw a stack of documents onto the bed, turned and motioned to the bodyguards behind him with his eyes. The bodyguards forcefully grabbed my arm and pressed it onto the table. Father roughly pulled up my thumb, pressed it on the ink pad, completing the stock transfer agreement. Seeing this, father collected the documents with satisfaction, putting his arm around Isabel's shoulder. That cold voice sounded. From now on, the Wellington family will only have one daughter, Izzy. At this moment, everyone looked at me, their expressions varied. But I didn't argue, didn't make a scene. You want this company so badly, I'll give it to you. I don't want anything, I just want to leave here with my child. Thinking this, a smile pulled at my lips, as if I were freed. As they turned to leave, Isabel suddenly stopped, as if she remembered something. I saw her red lips part slightly. Oh right, we can't keep the bastard in Vivian's belly. I quickly spoke, my voice trembling, that's Robert's child. Isabel swayed her hips slightly as she walked towards me, leaned down and whispered in my ear, precisely because I know it's his, I absolutely cannot let you keep this child. My pupils constricted, my heart filled with despair, looking at her pleadingly. Isabel, I was wrong, I won't compete with you anymore. Please don't hurt my child. Mom is already gone, in my heart, this child is my only relative. I tightly gripped Isabel's hand, plopped down on my knees begging her, tears poured out uncontrollably. Her smile held a hint of cruelty. Vivian, I'll arrange the abortion for you in a couple of days. During this time, say your goodbyes to your baby. With that, she motioned for the bodyguards to surround the hospital room tightly, imprisoning me here. That afternoon, I climbed onto the windowsill and sat leaning against the railing. My heart was heavy with despair. At this moment, my lifelong fear of heights wasn't enough to make me feel afraid. Looking down at the children playfully messing around on the first floor, a little girl was holding a bubble machine, blowing bubbles and running happily. Their laughter reached upstairs, and my heart filled with warmth. I reached out and stroked my abdomen, and a tear slowly fell from the corner of my eye. If my child could survive, in a few years, they would be as lively and cute as them. Just then, the hospital room door was suddenly opened. Robert stood at the doorway, his eyes trembling as he looked at me. He strode towards me, reaching out his hands, struggling to control his inner panic. Viv, can you slowly come down? I'll catch you. When we first met, I climbed a tree to retrieve a badminton shuttlecock, but was too afraid of heights to come down. It was Robert, an older student passing by, who stood under the tree, looking up, with a gentle and reassuring smile on his face. "Don't be afraid, I'll catch you down here." The sunlight outlined his tall figure. The scene before my eyes overlapped with that of over 10 years ago, but I no longer felt the joy of that time. Instead, my heart was filled with sorrow and despair. Robert carried me to the bed and gently set me down. His eyes were tinged with a faint crimson. "Viv, I just heard about what happened this morning." His voice was hoarse, barely above a whisper. "It's all my fault. I was arrogant enough to think I could control everything and give you the best protection in the world, but I let something like this happen to you." "Viv, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry," he murmured in my ear, over and over again. I didn't speak, just quietly lowered my eyes. Someone who truly loved me would never abandon me to be abducted and tortured by criminals for 7 whole days. Then, Robert's voice was gentle as water, drawing me in. "Viv, don't worry. After this happened, I'll only love you more." Looking at the private partitioned area for visitors in the hospital room, he said, "I won't go to the company during this time. I'll move in tonight to be with you." His voice trembled, yet it was more resolute than ever. "I will definitely make you well again, and have another baby with you." Looking at the handsome face of the man before me, I only felt a chill. I spoke lightly, "Robert, I believe you." Robert's eyes, as deep as ebony, looked towards me. He cupped my face in his hands, speaking in a low voice, "Viv, you must never leave me. I'll cherish you like a princess for the rest of my life." I murmured "MHM" and nodded lightly. Where he couldn't see, there was no trace of the tenderness I once held in my eyes. Robert held me tightly in his arms, his hot tears soaked my clothes. Everything before me felt both real and unreal. I couldn't make sense of my emotions. I couldn't understand why this person could be so gentle to me while cheating. For these 10 years, I wholeheartedly supported his company. I used all of the Wellington family's resources, without reservation, no matter the cost, just so he could stand by my side. Everyone else mocked me. The Wellington heiress insisted on sacrificing herself for a poor guy as a stepping stone, truly hopeless. Now, the love I dreamed of day and night was nothing but a fleeting bubble. That night, I was woke and up by sounds from the private partitioned area. My sleep had become very light, my dreams filled with the unbearable scenes from when I was kidnapped. I tiptoed towards the partitioned area door, hearing my Isabel's impatient voice. "Why waste so many words on Vivian this afternoon? If she wants to die, let her." Through the small gap in the door, I saw Robert calmly taking off his coat, suit, and watch. Of course, I had to coax her. Robert's indifferent reply came. "If she jumped, it would be trouble for you." With that, he turned and walked towards Isabel, his expression incredibly tender. "I promised you, I'll get you everything you want." He coaxed her softly, "Once you're settled in the chairwoman position, I'll file for divorce. How could a woman like Vivian compare to you?" Robert knelt down, his gaze burning, and kissed my Isabel's hand. "Izzy, you are my queen." Witnessing this, I couldn't help but take a step back. I closed my eyes, bit my lip until it bled, the metallic taste filling my mouth. The man who once said he would protect me forever was now bowing down to the woman I hated most. The temperature between the two inside rose rapidly. Not wanting to watch anymore, I turned and lay back on the hospital bed. The next morning, my Isabel leisurely walked out of the partitioned area. Isabel reached out and roughly woke me from my sleep, her voice gentle, yet cold and sinister. "I know you saw last night." She tilted her head slightly. "But what does it matter?" The curve of her lips was so mocking and malicious. "Viv, you've already lost. Now it's spread throughout the city. You're the dirtiest, most despicable woman." She reached out and patted my face like she was patting a small dog. "From now on, you'll stay home obediently, and Isabel will take care of you for life." I was silent for a long time. Looking at my numb expression, Isabel found it uninteresting and turned to leave. That night, the nurse gave me an injection, and I heard a soft sigh. "Miss Vivian, get some good rest." The surgery is scheduled for tomorrow morning. In the darkness, hot tears streamed down my face. I hated Isabel's affected coyness, hated her provocative gaze, hated the tone of her voice. But what I hated most was Robert, who no longer loved me. The man who was once my whole world. Slowly, I reached up and felt my neck. This was the gold necklace Robert bought me years ago with his first month's salary. After putting it on me, he held me close, muttering, "This one is too thin, too thin. Viv, I'm sorry I couldn't give you something better." He buried his face in my chest, sobbing quietly, "When I save up, I'll buy you a thicker one." I had never taken it off since he put it on me over 10 years ago. But now, I forcefully tore off the necklace and placed it on the bedside table. None of it mattered anymore. Quietly slipping past the bodyguards dozing in the late night, I left the hospital. A cold wind hit me. I stood by the riverbank, looking down at the swirling river. "I'm sorry, Mom, I couldn't be your daughter in this life." My lips trembled, my voice almost a sob. "I tried my best, but I still couldn't protect what you left me. Let Isabel and my husband be together. My child and I will sleep forever at the bottom of the river." I closed my eyes and jumped. Farewell, Robert. 8 hours later, Isabel didn't see me. She thought I had been taken for tests. She wasn't in a hurry, sitting on the sofa scrolling through her phone. Just then, Robert walked into the hospital room holding a bouquet of my favorite lilies. Isabel walked up, pulled a few stems off, threw them on the ground, and crushed them with her high heels. "Didn't realize you still had a soft spot for my Vivian." But Robert lowered his eyes and spoke in a low voice, "That was the only child Viv and I had. The bond of blood is hard to sever." Isabel smiled. She stood on tiptoe, cupped Robert's chin, and leaned in to kiss him. The next second, a bodyguard rushed in, his face panicked, stumbling. Before he could steady himself, I heard him stammer, Mr. Robert, Mrs. Vivian, something happened to her." Robert seemed to be electrocuted, turning his face and forcefully pushing Isabel away. He gripped the bodyguard's shoulders tightly, almost crushing his bones. His deep black eyes became increasingly dark. "Speak clearly. What exactly happened to Viv?" "Mrs. Vivian jumped into the river. Now the reporters are blocking the downstairs area completely, and they're all accusing you of murder. Wife to seize power." Hearing this, Robert's body swayed violently. How could this happen? His gaze scanned the hospital room. Only then did he notice a gold necklace on the bedside table. Once, he had asked Viv, full of doubt, "Honey, why do you always wear this necklace?" "I bought this for you when I first started working. It's less than a gram. With your status, it's no longer worthy of you." Over the years, Viv had bought many paintings and antiques he liked at auctions. However, her own dressing table seemed particularly simple. She had never added any jewelry to it. Even at gatherings filled with celebrities, the women guests around her were adorned with jewels. She only wore simple clothes, appearing gentle and elegant. But I only saw Vivian's eyes sparkling with happiness. She said softly, "Nothing could compare to this necklace." That was his most sincere heart, worth more than a fortune. Before his eyes, everything around him suddenly felt unreal. Viv had actually broken this necklace and left it on the hospital bed. Even in death, she didn't want to take it with her. Robert's eyes were empty, and he rushed out of the door looking lost, leaving Isabel and the bodyguard standing dumbfounded. He had clearly planned it all out. He would never forget the years as husband and wife he shared with Vivian. He would definitely give Viv a good future, ensuring she had a worry-free life. He had even secretly bought a villa by the coast, planning to give her a surprise on her birthday. Even if Viv couldn't have children anymore, the child he had with Isabel after they married would definitely support Viv in old age. He would constantly teach that child to respect and love Viv, just like their own mother. As long as he was alive, no one could hurt Viv. He would use his identity as a brother-in-law to wholeheartedly take care of Vivian. He would get rid of everyone who gossiped or caused trouble in front of her. But why were all his plans ruined now? Just then, the riverbank was full of search and rescue team members, wearing conspicuous clothes and constantly diving into search. Seeing Robert, the main character, finally appear, the reporters swarmed him like hungry wolves. Mr. Robert, you and Isabel are the main beneficiaries after your wife's death. Given this coincidence, are you suspected of murdering your wife? Mr. Robert, we hear your company grew thanks to Vivian these past years. What are your thoughts on your wife's cause of death? Was it an accident or foul play? Can you give the public a reasonable explanation? Mr. Robert, your household staff leaked information to me that you often had your wife's Isabel stay at your home late at night. Do you have an explanation for this? Mr. Robert, do you have a secret affair with Isabel? Please answer our questions directly. The surrounding flashbulbs flashed like raindrops. Just a few bodyguards couldn't stop the frantic reporters at all. Robert, however, paid no attention. He stared at the turbulent river water, his face pale, his eyes bloodshot. Something snapped inside him. Robert choked out a roar. Shut up, all of you. My wife isn't dead, don't curse her here. Viv must be alive, she would never leave me alone. As if making a decision, Robert suddenly broke free from the people holding him back. He jumped in without a second thought. Thinking Oh himself, as long as the body hasn't appeared, there's still hope that Viv is alive. Countless times he surfaced to breathe. Memories etched in his heart were awakened. Scenes spent with Vivian flashed repeatedly. Those sweet smiles, warm embraces, and Viv's adorable ways when she was being sweet. Now he wanted nothing more than for me to come back. No one could have imagined. I actually didn't die, I miraculously survived. After sinking into the river, I felt everything go black. I seemed to lose consciousness. My entire being was like a rootless duckweed, drifting on the river. In my hazy consciousness, I heard a child's tender voice calling out, "Mom." The voice was clear, yet it seemed to come from a distant sky. When I opened my eyes again, I saw a middle-aged woman's face filled with worry. My throat felt like it was cut by a knife. I swallowed. After a while, I asked weakly, where am I? Aunt Maria sighed softly, "My dear girl, you're so young, only in your 20s, why would you give up on life?" She slowly stroked my hands, like stroking a baby. I nervously clutched the hem of my clothes, a bitter feeling rising in my heart. "Auntie, I've lost all hope of living. What I thought was a happy marriage turned out to be a living hell." My heart had long since shattered into a million pieces. My voice trembled like a leaf in the wind. Aunt Maria was silent for a moment after hearing this. She awkwardly wiped away my tears and comforted me, "Child, don't think like that. There are no obstacles in life you can't overcome." Seeing the unfamiliar surroundings, after thanking this kind person, I was about to leave. Seeing my movements, Aunt Maria suddenly spoke to me urgently, "My dear girl, you must have been unhappy in the city, right?" "I was just visiting." She sighed softly. Her face showed emotion. "Although this city is beautiful, I found it very depressing to stay here. Honestly, big city stress is too much, it's not as calm as my small town." Aunt Maria stepped forward and gently held my arm with both hands. "Why don't you come back to my hometown with me and live in a different city?" Hearing her words, my mind instantly went blank, my eyes lowered, drifting off slightly. Auntie spoke again, her face beaming with smiles, the wrinkles around her eyes showing kindness. "I run a guest house by the coast in Seaside Haven. Would you like to come and be my front desk assistant? I can provide food and lodging." Waving her arms and mimicking cooking in the air, she added, "I'm best at making seafood feasts. It's all fresh catch from the sea that day. The taste, oh my, you can't imagine how fresh it is." As she said this, she straightened her back, her eyes shining with bright confidence. Before, there was a guest who ate my cooking for a whole week straight, and was reluctant to leave when they went, saying they would come back every year. Aunt Maria took out her phone from her bag, found some pictures, and handed them to me. The photos showed delicious-looking dishes, just looking at them made me crave food. "My dear girl, I made all of these. Take a look, aren't they tempting?" As she spoke, she looked at me with hopeful eyes, her face radiant with a sincere smile. She reached out and gently patted my shoulder, her hands were rough, but they felt reassuring. "Don't worry, come with me. Auntie would never lie to you. If you're not happy there, You can always come back, right? Looking at that smiling face, my steps faltered, and I was silent for a long while. After a long while, I heard my own voice. I pinched my palm, calming myself down. Smiling faintly, I said, "Okay, thank you, Auntie." My voice was soft, but it felt like it took all my strength. Perhaps this was the second chance at life granted to me by heaven. In a trance, my thoughts drifted back to my childhood. Mom held me gently, with a doting smile on her face. She asked softly, "My little Viv, what do you want when you grow up? The world's most expensive jewelry, the most luxurious house, or the best man in the world?" Mom's fingers gently brushed my hair. "Whatever you want, Mom will prepare it for you in advance." Now I've grown up, I can answer. I don't want anything, I just want to leave here. In this coastal city, many moving love stories are told. I heard there's a very effective spot known for granting wishes. It has hundreds of millions of views on TikTok. Many people come seeking their destiny. After coming to help at this guest house, I've hosted many tourists. That couple who looked to be in their 20s came to the wishing tree planted in front of the patio and took selfies leaning against each other. The exquisite-faced girl's hair was blown wildly by the sea breeze. She said coyly that she wanted to take a few more photos. I saw the boy's eyes were full of tenderness as he cupped her cute face and kissed her. An elderly couple walked hand in hand by the beach. Looking from the shop in the distance, the setting sun cast its light on their backs, each step slow. After the two returned to the guest house, looking at their clasped hands, I spoke up, curious, and asked my question, "Looking at you two, your affection for each other is so beautiful. I have a question, if you don't mind me asking. Why did love last so long for your generation? Age doesn't diminish beauty. Wrinkles are the marks left by time, but they also preserve temperament and elegance." The older woman guessed before me, wearing a light green dress, her face became even more amiable. I heard her speak slowly, "Our generation, when something broke, we thought of fixing it. But you young people, when something breaks, you only think of replacing it." Seeing the loving smiles on their faces, that was a deep affection settled by time. Although I was moved by such love, I also knew clearly that I would never step into the trap of love again. Unknown to anyone, the child in my belly was so resilient, they actually survived. This little one, like a stubborn seed, desperately took root and grew in the not-so-fertile soil of my body. The occasional fetal movement in my belly didn't feel like sharp pain. Instead, it made me clearly feel how much it yearned to survive and see the world. By now, I no longer cared that the child's father was Robert. Only after walking to the edge of death did I truly realize that true feelings change in an instant, and love cannot be begged for. I don't need love to live. The baby in my belly is the only person in this world who shares a blood connection with me. It is my only remaining family. In this peaceful and tranquil coastal town, no one knew I was the Wellington chairwoman who had been violated by criminals. My child and I had started a brand new life. After Aunt Maria learned I was pregnant, she took special care of me in every way. She often accompanied me to prenatal checkups, cooked various nutritious meals and supplements for me, and treated me like her own daughter. Later in our conversations, I learned that her husband and son were both narcotics officers who had sacrificed their lives at a young age. I wanted to comfort her but didn't know how to start. The separation and loss I had experienced couldn't compare to hers. But Aunt Maria looked at me and smiled. "It's okay, it's been many years. I'm not the type to cry all the time. Nothing is more important than living your own life well. Besides, living in this city they fought so hard to protect, I already feel very happy." That kind of optimism was infectious. I thanked her for granting me a second chance at life. Just as I thought my life would be this happy forever. One day, in the quiet coastal town, a man in a sharp suit arrived. The man inquired everywhere in the small town, asking everyone he met if they knew a woman named Viv. He looked travel-worn, his voice full of anxiety. Finally, he found me at this well-known guest house. The moment he saw me, Robert's breath seemed to stop for an instant. I heard him speak softly. "Viv, I've already been punished by you. Since you left, I haven't had a single good night's sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I dream of you. After half a year, he had become so thin. His thin shoulders could barely support the expensive haute couture suit. His dark brown pupils stared at me intently, afraid I would disappear. Viv, you've made your point, won't you come back with me now? I stood behind the bar, using the counter to hide my pregnant belly. I spoke coldly, I'm very satisfied with my life now. Please leave, you're not welcome here. He looked up and scanned the surroundings, his expression disbelieving. Viv, I didn't believe you were working as a front desk clerk here, you're an heiress, how could you willingly sink to this level? But my heart was neither sad nor joyful, the owner here is very good to me. Robert's face turned cold, and he said with disgust, how good could it be? It looks like they can only give you a place to eat. I knew he must have misunderstood, thinking the owner I mentioned was a man. Seeing that I didn't explain, Robert continued talking about his past half-year's experience. Isabel saw him being completely trashed by the media, but she played the role of the caring, loving sister. She kicked Robert out of the house, saying she was cleansing the family name for her dead Vivian. Then she immediately found a young male celebrity who was popular from a web series. They met secretly in a private club and were secretly photographed by paparazzi. The photos instantly spread online, the scandal was everywhere, causing a huge mess. The Wellington Group's reputation was completely trampled by her. The employees were whispering behind their backs, partners expressed their doubts, and the company's image plummeted. At this point, Robert paused for a moment, then said sarcastically, how could that stupid woman Isabel compare to you? That toy boy she found was a spy planted by a competitor. He stole confidential company documents and sold them for a fortune. The project that could have brought in billions in revenue for the company each year fell through as a result. Seeing that he wanted to continue talking, I interrupted him. Robert, I'm completely uninterested in your lives. Please leave. Perhaps it was the first time he had seen me so indifferent. Robert reached out to grab me. His Adam's apple bobbed, and he said hoarsely, for the sake of the feelings we shared over these years, Viv, will you give me one more chance? I looked at him, wanting to see into his heart. Those feelings have been squandered by you. Robert, I gave you countless chances, but you and Isabel, the sister I hate most, chose to humiliate me. Each word pierced like a knife, her voice cold and indifferent. When you were plotting to harm me with her, did you ever consider that the person who spent over a decade with you was me, not Isabel? When I looked up again, Robert's eyes were already red-rimmed. Then he began to laugh almost manically. As he laughed, tears streamed down his face. He spoke in a low voice, Viv, I understand now. I failed you. I shouldn't have fantasized so much. From now on, I won't appear again. Viv, you must take care of yourself. In the future, if you meet a man you like, give it a try. Perhaps he can give you the happiness I couldn't give you. His head was half lowered, causing the fine hair on his forehead to slightly cover his pupils. Tears traced down his cold, thin face. That was the look I had yearned for on countless nights in my youth. When the guest house closed for the day, as I was cleaning the tables, I found something. Before Robert left, he had pressed a bank card under a cup and a white slip of paper. It read, Viv, this is all the money in my account. I hope it can protect you for the rest of your life, worry-free. I reached out and picked up the paper, a faint smile appearing on my face. He actually remembered that promise. Sadly, this was the only promise he kept in his life. Later, I used this money to renovate the guest house. I saved the remaining money to support Aunt Maria in old age and for the child's daily expenses after birth. That day, I didn't step out from behind the front desk. Robert didn't know that his child and I were still alive in this world. He was no longer the child's father. The baby in my belly would forever be mine alone. Years later, my son grew up healthy under Aunt Maria's and my care. I named him Ethan Wellington. May he be like a boat sailing steadily forward in the river of life. I had always hoped he would be a gentle, refined young man. But unexpectedly, I had a little devil who loved to stir up trouble. Ethan Wellington was mischievous and loved to play. He couldn't stay home at all, always shouting about wanting to go out and play. He was 6 years old that year. Around that time, a popular cartoon superhero movie was everywhere. I bought him a full set of the popular cartoon superhero costume. Occasionally, I'd let him wear it and act as a mascot at the guest house. Unexpectedly, the guests really liked my son. Many asked to take pictures with him. Some even secretly slipped him quite a bit of pocket money behind my back, which made Ethan Wellington even more proud. This little guy seemed to have endless energy, constantly muttering, "I control my destiny." He imitated the popular cartoon superhero from the movie perfectly, hands on hips, pretending to fly. One day, I was hosting guests at the guest house as usual. Just then, the door of the guest house was gently pushed open. A man wearing a wide-brimmed hat walked in. Before I could ask, the man extended his hand proactively, a friendly smile on his face. "Hello, I saw photos of your child online." He looked at me with an expectant face, his tone so eager. "That child looks incredibly like the popular car toon superhero. Our team is planning a live-action movie. I was wondering if you would be interested in having your child audition?" At these words, I nodded without hesitation. Sure, I was just wondering what to do with him being so noisy at home. No one knew that this small opportunity was the starting point of my Ethan, her son's acting career. 20 years later, Ethan Wellington held a trophy on live television broadcast and spoke in a deep voice. "I want to thank my mom, who didn't give up on me many years ago." He stood tall and straight, the most brilliant presence among the stars at the awards ceremony. "It was Mom who lifted me up with her slender hands." Speaking here, Ethan Wellington paused slightly, his eyes shining with gentle warmth. "Today, my dream has come true. I want to use my future time to stay by my mother's side and travel the world with her to see all its wonders." A top actor whose career was at its peak unexpectedly announced his retirement from acting, causing a huge public discussion online. In the summer after all the noise. In the guest house in this coastal city, as soon as you enter, you can see that golden Best Actor trophy. It looked out of place in the guest house environment, yet it was so harmonious.